So there we go. Okay. So my name is Leslie Suarez, and just like all of you, I'm a realtor. I go out and show property, negotiate deals, work on contracts, do all of the same things that you guys are doing. I've been with KVCORE since 2015, or actually, let me take that back. I've been with EXP since 2015, back when KVCORE used to be called Conversion. And we went just like JLo down to initials, and we've been KVCORE for a long time. But I have been using KVCORE since 2015. It's one of the main reasons why I came to EXP was because I saw what this lead generation platform could do and realized that it put all of the other sites and things that I was kind of mashing together into one spot. So during today's class, I'm going to show you how to do some basic things to make sure that your website is set up properly. And then tomorrow we go more into ways to advertise your website, how to do squeeze pages, because that's really the bread and butter that I use to generate leads. So I do want to let you know, you guys can unmute yourself at any time to ask questions. So if you have questions, feel free to ask them. If there's something that you don't understand, feel free to stop me so I can explain it a little bit further. Do I have any questions before we get started?
What time is the class tomorrow? Do you still have availability for that class?
Yes, there are still spots open tomorrow, and it's at the exact same time. So if you go to the Gene Frederick website, I actually share my screen. Give me 1 second. I should have it up. But if you go to the Gene Frederick website, this is what it looks like when you first go on genefrederick.com. You can scroll down, and about halfway through the page is where the KVCORE set classes are. So you can sign up, like today's the beginner's class, but there's the KVCORE advanced, and then there's also a one-on-one. I do recommend that you wait to do the one-on-one until you've done both beginner and advanced if there's specific things that you have questions about. And then also at the bottom, you'll see that I do have a playlist if you wanted to watch more of my KVCORE videos or review anything that you've already learned. I will also tell you that there's great playlists at the bottom of Gene's website. Obviously, Gene is one of the best recruiters nationwide at agent attraction. So I do really encourage you guys to watch his videos and emulate what he does because he has had massive success with EXP. So he has me teach these classes because I've found a lot of success with KVCORE without having to spend money. So I actually don't spend any money on advertising at all. I don't do any print material. I just use KVCORE, and KVCORE keeps up with my past clients as well. So I get a lot of repeat business from KVCORE, but it's also about bringing in those new leads. And so I don't spend any money on advertising, but what I do want to show you guys is how to get it set up. And then especially in that advanced class is how you bring in those leads without spending the money. Obviously, the longer that you're in business, the more repeat business you're going to get. And KVCORE also nurtures the past clients so that they don't forget to use you as well. So it kind of does both, where it keeps up with the clients that you already have, but it will also help you pull in new people as well. So I'm going to go in and just basically show you what your KVCORE website can or kind of looks like. The biggest difference that you're going to see on my website is that I do have a video that plays in the background. That's a YouTube video. And I do show you in the advanced class how to put a YouTube video on the background of your website. So if that is something that you're interested in, look into what videos you'd like to use or consider hiring somebody to do a drone video for you. But really any YouTube video can play in the background of your website. So that's the big difference that you're going to see between mine and what was set up for you with EXP. But again, it's really easy to do, and I'll show you through these classes. But the front part of your website is going to be an IDX. So it's a place for your clients to be searching for properties. So if somebody is looking for a home and they're going to Zillow.com or Realtor.com, you really do want to condition them to be coming to your website. In addition, we do have an outward facing app for your clients to be using. So if they don't like going to a website and they just want an app, I'll show you guys how you can send them the download link for your own personalized app, because you have this beautiful website, but you also have an app that's doing the same thing, and they can search for properties, save properties, and you're getting notifications as they do. So some of the other changes that I made on my website is that I did change, rather than it say search, I said search for homes. And I changed where it said sell to free home valuation. So those are some other little changes that I've made. I also did connect in my social media. So I'm going to show you that momentarily. That's one of the first things that we do. As you scroll down, you will see that there's different types of ways that people can search for properties. So they can obviously do like the search here, but they can also do a more advanced search further down. I have some background noise, so I'm just muting anybody. If you do want to ask a question, feel free to unmute yourself, but I did mute everybody just now to kind of keep background noise to a minimum. Then as you scroll down, there is a carousel. We call these carousels because they slide through the different ones. You can go left or right to look at them, but there is an area for testimonials. So I'll show you that today as to how to add testimonials in here. Also, you have 3 carousels. You can do 1, 2, or 3, but I have all 3 of them on my website. So on mine, I have the listings that are just in Boca Raton, which is where I live. I live in Boca Raton, Florida. Then as you scroll down, I have the open houses that are anywhere in my MLS, as well as just listed properties anywhere in my MLS. As we go further down, there's an About Me section, which this section I spent forever just kind of ignoring, and I didn't put a lot of time and effort into it. But I will tell you that if somebody tries to get a free home valuation from your website, when they get their home valuation, it does include your About Me section. So this is something that people look at when they've gotten some information from you, and it might be the reason that they list or don't list with you. So I do encourage you guys to do a good About Me section, and I'll show you that shortly. And then we'll talk about blog posts in a little while. Areas that we cover, you'll see I have lots on my list in comparison to 2, 3, or 4, like a lot of people do when they first start their KVCORE. So I'm going to show you how to add this up and why it's important. And then at the bottom of your website, you just have different disclosures to make sure that you're compliant. So that's what the main section of your outward facing website looks like. Now, on the back end, it's kvcore.com that you're going to go to in order to log in. I believe all of you guys have your login information already. You can actually use this website, but there also is an app for your back end as well. So to kind of break this down, I'm going to just explain what the different apps are. Is that you have your KVCORE mobile, which is the back end of KVCORE that you can use to send messages to clients, look at what properties they've looked at, all sorts of things, just like it is here on kvcore.com. Then there's also an open house app. I strongly suggest all of you guys download the open house app. The open house app is so that if you're having an open house, rather than having a piece of paper for people to log in on, it's actually a full-on description about the property. You'll give them your phone or your iPad or wherever you have the app downloaded. It will already have the information about the property. All you have to do is put in the MLS number and it auto populates with the rest of the information from the MLS. And as people come into your open house, you can hand them that device, they can sign in. When they leave the open house, they're going to get an email with all of the property information as well as your contact information, plus everybody that signs into that app will then be added to your CRM. So now you can keep up with them forever. So again, every person that you meet is a lead. It's just a matter of whether or not you're keeping up with them and cultivating that relationship so it can turn into a sale eventually. So you have the open house app, KVCORE open house. Highly suggest you guys download that one. You have the KVCORE mobile, which is the back end of this. And then the last app that I want to encourage you guys to all download is that if you click on your name on the upper right-hand corner, the 4th thing on the list is going to be a link for you to download your app. It has a QR code, so if you scan that, it'll automatically take them to the App Store to purchase the app, or you can send people an invite to download the app by putting in their cell phone number and email address. There are more ways to invite people to your app, so I'll show you that in just a little while, but this is some of the basic ways that you can find what your app link is. And so you can email that out to all of your clients or do some mass emailing, which we also talk about how to do that as well today. But up first, we're going to go to my profile because I want to make sure you guys have your profile set up correctly. It does change the front of your website. So it is important. It's something that every person that goes to your website is going to see whether or not you've made these changes. So you would click on your name, go to my profile, and then hit edit profile. When you're here, you can upload an image of yourself. It could be your headshot. It could be an image of you doing something in real estate. It could be a listing photo. It can really be anything you want it to be. It could be a logo. However, I will tell you that if you're on a team and you have a secondary logo, there is a way to add that logo right here next to the EXP logo. So you can keep this as a photo of yourself. But just some different ways to do it depending on what you like. And I've definitely seen people put their logo there rather than a picture. So personal preference, do what you think is best. Then you have your first name and last name. Those do show up right here. So when you change those, it's going to change what's here on your website. It should be what's on your real estate license. Underneath that, you have a place that you can put a tagline. I believe when you guys open up your KVCORE that it just has the word realtor right there. By the time that people are on this website, they'll probably realize that you're a realtor. So you might want to take this opportunity, sorry, excuse me, to do something a little bit more personal. So if you have a tagline or anything that like you believe in, you can put that right there underneath your name and it will go on that front page of your website. Now, as we scroll down, it does have your contact information. With KVCORE, you're assigned a SMART number. That SMART number is assigned to you, but it's also assigned to other agents. So there is a way that you can purchase a SMART number if that's something that you want. I do have my own SMART number. I pay $27 a month. It's something that you can buy on Marketplace in KVCORE. It's right there. But over time, I would recommend that if you're using KVCORE a lot, that buying your own SMART number might be smart. A lot of people ask me, like, what's the difference between the EXP SMART number and buying one yourself? The EXP SMART number, I've never had it happen to me where I've lost a lead from it. However, I have heard, and I've seen it in YouTube videos where people talk about that if the person's never been on your website, that it could be round robin between other EXP agents and that lead could get sent to somebody else. However, if they've ever been on your website, their phone number is like almost geotagged to you so that way, if they call that SMART number, it's ringing on your cell phone. So even though it's not your cell phone number that's there, but if I were to call this 561-513-4152, my cell phone is going to ring. So it's just whatever you want. I like using my cell phone. I've had the same cell phone number for a million years. I've been in real estate for almost 10 years. Everybody has this number. So I do use my cell phone number on like my business cards and when I'm talking to clients. And then I more so think of my SMART number as my business line. But again, you can kind of organize your business to however works for you. I'm just telling you what works for me. Something really, really important with KVCORE is that whatever email addresses that you have on KVCORE. So I have 2 of my email addresses that are now linked to KVCORE. I have my EXP one and my Gmail. Both of these email addresses, you want to go into your smartphone and sync your contacts. So to do that, or let me say why it's important, and then I'll say how to. It's important because if I add somebody to my phone, so my contacts are synced with KVCORE. So if I add somebody to a contact in my phone, they're going to show up in my smart CRM the next time that I come into KVCORE. So I no longer have to come home and add people into KVCORE. All I do is I add somebody into my phone and then they're in KVCORE. Does that make sense?
Hey, can you explain how you do that again?
So to do it, what you're going to do is you're going to open up your smartphone. And I'm an iPhone user, so I'm going to tell you guys the iPhone way of doing it. But you're going to open up your smartphone and you're going to open up settings. When you're in your settings, you're going to scroll down to mail. Once you click on mail, it'll tell you you have 3 mail accounts or however email accounts you have. I have 9, but that's a little ridiculous. Most people don't have that many email addresses. But the ones that I have here in KVCORE, so out of my 9 email addresses, I opened up my EXP Realty one and my 561 Leslie at Gmail one. And when you open it up, it's going to have 4 options of things that you can sync: your calendar, your contacts, your notes, and one other thing. And you want to make sure that your contacts are synced. I'd even recommend that your contacts and calendar are both synced to KVCORE, because not only do you want people to add into your CRM automatically, but also if KVCORE says to me like, hey, Leslie, you should call this contact today, it's actually in my calendar because I've synced my calendar too. So for the ease of life, I strongly suggest that you all make sure that any email addresses that you have connected to KVCORE, that you have the contacts synced. Now we'll take it one step further. That open house app that I was telling you guys about, that's a miracle app. Strongly suggest you guys use it, especially if you have an open house. That open house app, if you have your contacts synced, every person that comes to that open house is going to be added to your KVCORE and your cell phone contacts. So it does help you quite a bit. It will hashtag all of the contacts with the address of the open house that you met them at. So if you ever come into your CRM and you just had an open house, chances are you'll have several new leads in your CRM and they'll all have the hashtag of 123 Elm Street or wherever your open house was. Now you have the opportunity to put in a secondary email address. And most people ask me, why do you put in that secondary email address? I do not use my eXp Realty email address. Number one, it's way too long for my clients to remember. Number two, I've been divorced, so my last name has changed, so my clients can't remember if my last name is Suarez or Gladney. Doesn't matter. But either way, it's made it more difficult for people to remember. I still get called in by my married name at Gates, and I've been divorced for years. So for me, I went to something simple. 561 is the area code that I work in and my name. So I did also buy 561leslie.com and I have my EXP website forwarded to that. Or so for example, if I go to 561leslie.com, you're going to see it's going to open up my same website again. And I will tell you guys how to do that and show you how to do that in the advanced class. But it's all about making things shorter, sweeter, easier to remember. And so I do use my 561leslie at Gmail because that's the email address that I've had forever. My clients are used to it. So all of my KVCORE emails that get sent out on my behalf come from my 561leslie at Gmail email address rather than my KVCORE or my EXP email address. Either way, it works. Again, this is your choice as to how you want to run your business. I'm just kind of telling you what's worked for me. Also, if you guys were to ever leave eXp Realty, I've been with eXp for 9 years. I have zero intentions of ever leaving. I think that it is by far the best brokerage that is around. And so I won't be going anywhere. But at the same time, if I ever did, I do lose this email address versus this one I own outright. Nobody can take it away from me. If I switch brokerages, I still have it. So I do have all of my emails from KVCORE come from this because that's what I want my clients to always be using. So think about those things and edit that in your profile. Any other questions? Awesome. Okay. You can also change the from name. Like if you go by a name that's not what's on your real estate license, you can change that so that that way it's a little bit different. For me, I just go by my name. I'm not that cool. But if you were Michael and you go by Mike, you could change that in here so that that way all of your emails are ending with Mike. As you scroll down, it gets to your About Me section. This part is very important. I would recommend that you put that you are a licensed realtor since such and such year. I'll give you a personal example. When I first came to eXp, I had been licensed for 1.5 years. So I wrote like Leslie's been licensed for 1.5 years. Well, I never came in to update my profile until like 3 years later. And then I was like, wow, I've been licensed for almost 5 years and I'm giving myself no credit. So I did make the decision to put I've been licensed since this year. And that way I don't have to make any changes. And if I don't look at this, I don't look at this because chances are once you set up your profile, you're not going to come back in and play with this stuff again. Underneath that is your signature. Some tips for your signature is obviously like your first and last name. I do recommend that you put a link to your website in your signature at all times. And then as silly as it sounds, but the call or text with my cell phone number next to it has actually helped. And more of my clients are now going to texting with me rather than calling me all the time, which I do appreciate because not only do I teach these classes and I'm a single mom and I go out and show property, but I'm also the vice president for the Palm Beach County real estate board. So I do keep myself incredibly busy. So I really love it when clients text me. So that's just one extra piece that gets them to get closer to doing that and making my life easier. And then if you scroll down, the last thing that I need you guys to do is to make sure that your signature is on for all outgoing mail so that way it puts this signature in all of your mail rather than just something from Leslie. If we scroll back up on the right-hand side, you'll see that you can connect in your social media. So I connected in my Facebook, my LinkedIn, my YouTube, and my Instagram. That's because I use those things. If you have a Facebook page and you never post to it, do not put that on your website. Only put social media that you're using on a regular basis. So if it's just LinkedIn, just put LinkedIn. If it's just Instagram, just put Instagram. It hurts you more to put up social media links that you don't use on a regular basis because it's like a close sign. So say I hadn't posted to my professional real estate page in a year, it would be much better for me to put my personal page here rather than my professional page, because then when people go to it, they see information, they see that I'm still active. When you put up a page that you haven't advertised in a long time, or that you haven't put a post up in a long time, when they get to that page and they see like, oh, last post was August of 2020, they're going to second guess whether or not you're still an active realtor. So make sure that you're putting the presence out there, that you do this and you do this on a daily basis. Doesn't mean you have to post every day, but anything that's connected to your website, you should be posting on at least once a month. That's my insider tip on that. Any questions about your profile? Because this wraps it up and it's just a matter of hitting save at the end. Any questions?
No, awesome. Awesome info, Leslie. Thanks.
Awesome. Okay. And you'll see your EXP number here, and this will actually tell you what agent you are in the company. So just to prove to you guys that I really have been with EXP forever, my number is 740 rather than 87,000, but it's crazy how fast EXP has grown. I've been here watching it from the beginning.
You were the 740th agent?
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I was the first agent in South Florida. So, and that's why Gene's asked me to do this class, because he's like, Leslie, you have all this success. And I mentor agents. I have 30 plus EXP agents that I mentor right now, you know, like not over time, but like right in this moment. So I just tell everybody, text me, you know, but it is cool because like when I look at other people's agent numbers, I'm like, wow, I have been around for a long time. I do know this stuff. So,
Oh my gosh, mine is like 200 some thousand.
yeah. You know, it's a little bit different of a number. So, but it is kind of cool to watch it. And for any of you guys joining now, in 5 years from now, that number is going to be even crazier to look at what like you've recruited when you see somebody that you've brought to EXP and what their number is. It's just, it is cool. EXP is not slowing down as far as its growth. So, anyways, so the next thing that we're going to do is that we still have a few more things to set up before we get into the fun stuff. So I'm going to ask you guys to go to Web and IDX. When you click on Web and IDX, you can go to, actually, we're going to do that part later. We're going to go to site content. When you're on site content, there's a few things on here that I just want to explain to you their importance. Number one is that you have your testimonials, which just builds credit. It builds trust with somebody. So try to add as many testimonials as you can. As far as adding testimonials, you can connect Zillow and it will automatically upload any Zillow reviews that you have. So that's the easy part. The other part is what happens if you have Facebook reviews and Google reviews and realtor.com reviews. All of those reviews, you actually have to manually add them. So I would choose like 10 of your best reviews. You don't have to put 100 reviews on your website, but at least put a couple of them. Choose 10 of your favorite reviews. And then all you have to do is hit add testimonial, and you're going to copy and paste it from wherever it is and then hit add. It's very simple, but I encourage you to at least have a few testimonials on your website. Now this toggle switch, if it's brown or gray like that, it means that that testimonial is off. If it's blue, it means that it's on. So people can't see the testimonial on your website until you make sure that it's blue. The other thing that I will tell you guys is that when you first give yourself a review, it will have 0 stars next to it. So you do need to click on that 5th star so that when you're looking at the reviews on your website, you actually see that they gave you 5 stars. If I didn't click on the stars, it would just have the words and no stars. So not that it's a huge thing, because obviously it's a good review and people are reading the remarks, but just one extra step is turn it on, press the 5th star, you're good to go. It's going to be on your website. One other thing that I will tell you guys is that if you add something to your website here and you go right back over to your website, sometimes it might not be there yet. There's 2 things. Number one is give it a little bit of time. Sometimes it takes a half an hour for whatever you're doing on the back end to update on the front end of your website. And number two, make sure you hit refresh, because if you don't hit refresh, it's just going to show you the old information anyways. So add in as many testimonials as you can. Again, it's not difficult. One of the most important things that you can do on your website is add in your service areas and SEO. SEO stands for search engine optimization. Search engine optimization means is how well does it show up on a search engine? A search engine is like Google. There's tons of search engines, but Google's by far the one that everybody knows the best. But if I were to go to Google and type in realtor in Boca Raton, am I going to show up or am I not going to show up? And you have to be showing up in order for people to click on your website, to create an account on your website, and to become a lead, and therefore a sale one day. So you want as many people to find your website as possible. And one of the ways that you're going to do that is you're going to come in here and you're going to add in your service areas. Now, you have to think like other people when you want to do search engine optimization. So I did do lead generation for a little while before I got my real estate license. And this is the way that I teach people to think about it, is think like your client does. So for me, if I was looking for a house in Boca Raton, I would type in house in Boca Raton. However, I've realized that most of my New York clients, when they search for property, they actually search by zip code. I would never think to go to Google and type in a zip code and then do realtor at 33406. Like, that's not the way that I would search for something, but that is the way that a lot of people search for things. So we need to have zip codes in here. I search by city names, and then especially people moving locally from one area to another in the same community, not community, but like town. Most of the time they'll be searching for homes based on community names. So you can put in zip codes, community names, as well as city or town names. So to add those in, you're just going to type it in. So if I were to type in Boca Raton itself is already on my list, but you'll see that other things pop up and you can add these to the list. Now, my rule of thumb is it's better to add way too many things to your service areas and SEO and get somebody that calls you and says, hey, I want to buy a house and it's an hour away from where you live. Great, you refer it to somebody else. So I think it's better to have way too many things on here than not enough. So you'll see I have every zip code that's near me on my list. I also have the names of all the communities. I have the name of the community that I live in. I have the name of any community that I've ever sold in. Heck, I have the name of every community that I drive past. If I drive past a community and I'm like, oh, you know what, that's not in my KVCORE yet, I come home and I add it in. So you want to do as many things as possible. And that way, when somebody goes to a search engine and searches for a realtor or a home for sale, you're going to keyword because it's similar for what they're looking for. Does anybody have questions on how search engine optimization works? Don't be scared of me. Okay, so no questions on.
A little bit, because mine says under transactions, it says website manager. Would that be the same thing? Hold on, let me.
Yes. Are you in Canada?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm in North Carolina.
Oh, that's weird. Because normally, like, Canada's KVCORE is a little bit different, but state to state, I normally don't see that type of difference. But it should be under website content.
Okay. Okay.
And
yeah,
you're looking for service, service areas and SEO. And all you have to do is where the ad bar, where it says ad, just start typing in and things are going to populate underneath you. So if I type in Wellington, which I already have that city in here, but every community name that has the word Wellington in it is going to show up as well. And in my mind, I'm like, add them in there. Oops. So it's just a matter of typing in names of the areas that you live in and adding them in there. So that just depending on how somebody is looking for a realtor, you're that much more likely to show up. I will tell you that I've had this done since day one of having KVCORE. And on day 3 of having KVCORE, I had somebody land on my website that I had never met before. They, as soon as they went on my website, KVCORE sent them a text message. KVCORE followed up with an email the next day. The second email that he got from KVCORE, he responded to it and said, yeah, I'd love to go look at properties this Saturday. And I had my first closing with EXP within a month of having KVCORE. And this was somebody that, again, I never met, you know, so these things do happen, but I was married to a lead generation specialist. So one of the first things he told me is, no, you've got to have this. And I've seen it work. I know it works. And I've even had people that take my class that they'll look for themselves on Google. They can't find it. And then they add in these service areas. They look for themselves on Google the next day, and all of a sudden they're populating. So again, really, really important for you to get those leads that you've never met before. And those, honestly, that's what excites me the most. You know, like I love helping my friends and family, but I know they're going to use me. Well, not all of them. Sometimes they don't. And that hurts my feelings, but we all get over it. All right, guys, sorry, I talk a lot, but the next thing that I want to go over is the blog. I'm not a blogger. I don't really like to blog. I'm not a writer. It's just not the way that my brain works. However, I have learned that with blogging and KVCORE that it actually uses search engine optimization to make your website populate in more places. So to kind of show you guys an example, this one, I did one blog post about why EXP agents are joining why agents are joining EXP Realty. I got 975 people that landed on my website because of that one blog post. Another one, homeowners insurance rates are increasing. I had 682 people that landed on my website from a Google search because of the fact that I did these blog posts. So I do try and push myself to do a blog post per month. So to do a blog post, you just type in a title and you type in some content and you hit publish now. Everything that you put in a blog post will be keyworded and put into search engine optimization. So everything that you write in here is going to help you populate. So the more words you put in, the better. The longer it is, the better. But again, if you just do a blog post that's a couple sentences every couple weeks, you will have more people landing on your website than if you didn't. So again, I'm not a blogger. When somebody told me I had to start blogging, I was like, not really my thing. But I do try to come in here every couple months and do some sort of blog post. You know, like whatever's going on. And sometimes it could just be like, hey, do you want to know what the market stats are? Homes are closing for 30% more than they were last year, but we've had 10% less closings this year than last year. Whatever you want to put in there. But it is really, really a great idea to try and put in a blog post as often as you can set your schedule to be. Any questions on blog posts? Okay. So that's the setup stuff. There's obviously more that we go into in the advanced class, but that's the beginner setup stuff that if you can do that, your KVCORE will be set up the way that it needs to be. I do want to show you guys the Smart CRM, and that's going to be the rest of this class. But before we get to that, we do need to go to marketing and we need to go to Smart Campaigns. When you get to Smart Campaigns, it's going to show you My Campaigns, KVCORE library, and templates. As far as your campaigns, if this is your first time ever coming into this marketing center, you're probably not going to have any on this list. You'll see my list is extensive, but you might not have any on this list right now. So what we need to do is we need to add some campaigns to your list. Campaigns are your way of KVCORE keeping up with your clients so that you don't have to. So I think of KVCORE as my virtual assistant. You know, like I'm not great at keeping up with clients. Like I hate calling people back. Terrible habits for a realtor. If you want to be a multi-million-dollar realtor, you have to call people. But KVCORE keeps me on schedule and makes me do these things. So when KVCORE tells me to call a client, I call a client. But you're going to want to go over to the KVCORE library, and you need a couple campaigns in your library. So the campaigns that you want is you definitely want a seller campaign. So if you type in the word seller, it'll give you all of the campaigns that are geared towards sellers. And you can look through every campaign if you want to, or we can make this a little bit easier for you. Two things to look at. Number one is channels, and number two is touches. Channels means how many times or what ways is it going to try to contact your client? Is it going to text them, email them, phone call them, set reminders for you to call them? How is it going to reach out for you? The other part, the touches, is how many times it's going to reach out. So how does it reach out? How many times does it reach out? So for me, I like the campaigns that have text, email, calls, tasks, do it all. So like, for example, this one, This one does email, text, connect calls, and creates tasks for me. Then I would want to look at the touches. This one's 13 touches. There are some that have a lot more. So like this one does all of the above, but it's 27. So it's like, how do I decide between those two? I'd recommend that you look at them. So let's go to the one like this one. If I click on it, I can actually see the entire campaign's life. So this is only a 10-day campaign versus if we go back to the other one that was 27, I believe that one's a 1-year campaign. So if I click on this one and I scroll down, we'll see it goes to 365 days. So this is a longer campaign, but this one's meant to start a conversation. So it's saying nosy neighbor, prospect a conversation. So I know that the point of this one is just to get a response from somebody and start the conversation. So if I were to look at it, I can actually view every text message that it's going to send out. So right away, when somebody's put on this campaign, it's going to send a text message from me, the agent, to the contact. Then the next day, it recommends that I try calling that person. Then the following day after that, it's going to send them an email. And then it spreads out and it becomes like once a week, once every 15 days, you know? But I can also click and say, okay, what does this email say? And I open it up and it will put in their first name and it'll say, hi, Leslie, would you be interested in a detailed report that shows what a buyer might pay for your property in today's market? Just reply back with your address and we'll send it over in 1 business day. So it's just trying to get them to respond to you. Same thing, here's a text message. I can open it up. It says, hi, just curious, are you considering selling your home in the next 3 to 12 months? We've got a number of buyers looking in the area, but there isn't much inventory to show them. Oh, that's terrible. The word there is spelled wrong. I just realized a typo in a KVCORE. But there isn't much inventory to show them. Let me know, question mark. And then it sends a link with your website as well. So it's just trying to get them to respond to you. And I have a lot of people that come in and say, oh, well, I want to create my own campaigns. I want to do my own this. I want to do my own that. I will tell you guys, one of the reasons why I started using KVCORE is because I understood that it understands the process better than I do. KVCORE knows how to generate leads. It knows how to cultivate the leads. It knows how to nurture the leads, and it knows how to get you to the closing table if you listen to what KVCORE is telling you to do. I watch people create their own campaigns and they make these beautiful emails. However, they're long, or they don't ask a question, or they're not asking somebody to do an action. For example, every KVCORE text or email that's sent out is asking for something so that they feel responsible to reply. And let me tell you, if you get somebody on these campaigns and they start replying to you, you're going to get them to the closing table. But it's just a matter of getting that conversation started. So I strongly believe that KVCORE's campaigns are much better than any campaign that I could create on my own. And I do only use KVCORE's campaigns. Like I said, you can create your own. It's not something that you need to worry about right now. Trust the system, trust that it works, because you will get people that respond. Sometimes you might get a response like, hey, Leslie, what was that about? Like they might get an email with a property or something like that. And they might respond back like, hey, I wasn't sure why I got this email. Well, great, it's a response, you know, and that's somewhere for you to take it to. You will need a campaign, at least 1 or 2 campaigns for a seller and another 1 or 2 campaigns for buyers. So again, you type buyer in here, you look at all the different ways that it's going to reach out. And so like I would choose default new lead buyer. You click on this one and it will show you like what the first email is. When it says task, those are things that it's going to put in your calendar for you. If you synced your calendar, and it will actually put a task in your phone saying, hey, call this client with their client's phone number. So you don't even have to open KVCORE. You can just click on the number from your calendar and it calls them. It's amazing. It's about taking extra steps out of this and making your life easier. Especially if you're new to EXP, you probably feel like it's a fire hose in the face. And so we want to make your life easier rather than harder. But you can click on these, find the campaigns that you like. When you find a campaign that you like, you do need to click add to my library. And to make it really complicated, once it's in your library, you still have to turn it on. So if it's in your library and you see that it's gray, it means that it's off and you won't be able to assign it to somebody. So after you pick all of your campaigns that you like and you add them to your library, you still need to come to your library and turn on the campaigns that you are using. Any questions about picking a campaign or adding campaigns to your library? Okay, so now how do we use the campaigns? We're going to go over to our Smart CRM. In the Smart CRM, there's different ways that you can add somebody to the system or into your CRM. Number one, if they go to your website, they will automatically be added to your CRM. So if somebody goes to your website and they create an account, right away, you'll see them in your CRM with notes about what properties they looked at and all of that stuff. So really cool. On top of that, you can add somebody in manually, or you can add them into your phone. And if your phone is synced, they'll be in here automatically. So once they're in here, and I'll show you, to add a contact, you're going to add one in and go through all of this and just check, 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 check. Okay. Once somebody's in the system, you can click on them and you can change information about them. I do want to show you guys something kind of cool and show you how creepy KVCORE is. So let me see. I'm trying to find a good example for you because I know that I have one or two that were really good. Let's see. I'm not finding what I wanted. But for example, if I click on this person, KVCORE will do a validation run, meaning that it will take that person's phone number and run it through like a background check system, and will tell you what the name is that's registered to the account. So look at matches. So we're up. It's actually that I have their last name spelled wrong. So that's good to know. I need to fix how to spell his last name in my system. It'll tell you whether they're male or female, where they live. It will even tell you where they work. And if they have a LinkedIn profile or an Instagram profile or any other sort of social media, it'll give you a link to their social media profiles. I don't know about you guys, but a lot of realtors pay hundreds of dollars a month just to get these free validation runs. And this is something that as soon as you add them into your KVCORE system, KVCORE so I added him on January 19th at 11:37 at night. And by 11:58, it had given me back the validation run. And sometimes it'll tell you how old people are. Like it'll give you a range, like he's between 45 and 49 years old. I mean, it's really kind of creepy when you look at these. And then sometimes I'll get a validation run and it just tells me whether they're male or female. But those validation runs for me as a single mom that's a female wearing a pencil skirt and high heels going into properties with strangers is something that I do appreciate. And I do my due diligence and look at their social media profiles and all of that before I go out and show property with internet leads. So keep in mind that like internet leads can be dangerous, but KVCORE has done an amazing job for me as a realtor to give me like that safety factor back. But once you're in somebody's account, you can actually change them as far as what their qualification is. So an active lead is somebody that's looking for property and probably going to be under contract in the next 90 days. A new lead is somebody that is a lead that will probably be buying a property in this next 6 months. A prospect is somebody that you think might want to buy or sell, but you don't know what their timeline is. And a sphere is, I don't know whether or not they want to buy or sell, but they're in my circle. So most of my contacts that I add to my phone end up being a sphere. And then as we do things, I move them along the line once I get more and more information about them. Also, if you go to contact info, you can add the email address, you can add their home address. This one is actually a new agent that I'm trying to recruit. So I'm going to put that he's an agent, not a buyer. I also put in a lot of hashtags. Hashtags are really important. So I always put in like where I met somebody as a hashtag, like what area that they live in as a hashtag. But it's just because I'm going to show you this in a minute once we do some mass emailing stuff. We only have like 14 minutes left, but we've got a good amount of stuff to still cover. Also, so you can do those hashtags. The other things that you can do is if you go to actions, you can set up property alerts. You can add them to a campaign. You can send them market reports. You can send them a listing valuation. You can send them a seller report, and you can even send them an invite to your free app So you can send them the invite right there. Actually, let me send that invite. Might as well. So sent that invite, especially if it's somebody that I'm trying to recruit. I want to show them all the cool tools that we have. So might as well show off my app. But you can come in here and add campaigns. So just like we added all those campaigns to the list, now they're going to show up in this drop-down menu because they're in your library and they're turned on. So I can add a campaign to him. And again, like if it's a buyer, I can set up property alerts the same way that you kind of do in the MLS. So again, just some extra things that you can do with those people. Now, the last thing that I want to show you for today is how to do mass emails and mass texts. You can definitely do a mass email just by clicking at the top of your list and doing mass email, and it will send whatever email you're sending out to every person on this list. So this is 250 people on this page, but I will show you that there's more pages. So you have to do one mass email per page. So I would have to do next, choose the top of the list and send it to everybody here as well. So keep that in mind. It's just when you choose the select button at the top of the page, it's just selecting people from that. Sorry, a lot of people in it's just selecting people from this drop down menu. Does that make sense? I hope so. Okay, so you can send a mass email to everybody that's in your database if that's the way that you want to do it. I personally do not do that. Even when I get new listings or when I close a listing, I don't send those out to everybody. I send them out to specific people. The ways that you can figure out who to send it to is that you can click this filter button and you can send it to everybody that's a sphere. You could send it to everybody that's a new lead. You can pick and choose. But if you scroll down a little bit, I want to show you some cool things. If you go to contact details, you can actually search for people by their hashtags. Now, this is one of the greatest tips that I can ever give out, is that I highly encourage you guys to become a part of your community, not just a realtor, but that you send out information on what's going on close to where people live. So, for example, here's a great one. This one says, family, Virginia, married, girl dad, out-of-state buyer. So this one, obviously, this person lives in Virginia because I always hashtag where they live. This is actually my brother. But I also hashtagged it girl dad. So anytime that there's like a fun event in my community that's for kids, I'll come in here and look for everybody that has the hashtag of dad and I'll add them to the list. I'll do the same thing. I'll come in here and look for anybody that's a mom and I'll add anybody that's like mom to that. Then I'll send out an email, like I'll come down to the bottom, apply the filters and send an email with a Facebook event out to whoever lives in that area. So say I was on Facebook this morning and I saw that there's an event tomorrow night in Boca Raton that's free for kids to attend. What I would do is I would come into KVCORE, find every person that's a mom or a dad based on their hashtags, filter it out, add in the hashtag that they have to be from Boca Raton too, and send out an email to all of those people saying, hey, looking for something fun to do with your kids this weekend? Check out this. The other thing that's going to sound really silly, and I don't even drink, but I hashtag people with beer. If I know that somebody's like a big beer drinker, I'll hashtag them with beer because there's always brewery events going on. So if somebody has the hashtag of beer, I'll come in here. Or if I see that there's an event that has to do with beer, I'll do beer. And sure enough, I'll filter it out, choose it from the top and do mass email and say, hey guys, did you know that this brewery is doing a grand opening? It's free from 12 to 5 this weekend. Bring the family, whatever else. So I do send out a lot of emails about my community, not just about, hey, look at what I've sold, because people will unsubscribe from you if you're constantly saying, look at what I've sold. Look at what's for sale. Look at what I've sold. Check out these. This is what I've done. Look at how great I am. Like people get sick of that. And I know that that's who we have to be in real estate. You have to like show off when you do closings and stuff. But I use that more for social media so that people can pick or choose whether or not they want to look at it. And my mass emails really are things that add value to my client's life so that way they don't unsubscribe. Because if somebody unsubscribes in KVCORE, it means you can no longer send them a mass email. Even your campaigns will not go to them anymore. So that's like the worst thing that you can have happen is somebody unsubscribe. I will tell you, people are more likely to unsubscribe from mass text than they are from mass emails because people are kind of used to being spammed in their emails. So more people will probably see the mass text than a mass email, but at the same time, save those mass texts for maybe just holidays or like really periodic things. And then mass emails, I do try to send out a mass email at least once a week, but I'm always changing who it's going out to. Like this week, I'm going to email everybody from Boca. Next week, I'm going to email everybody from Wellington. The week after that, I'm going to email everybody from Fort Lauderdale. And I change up who I'm communicating with so that people don't unsubscribe. I will tell you, when you go to do mass email, there are a lot of beautiful templates. So if you go to holiday, for example, just to kind of show you, there are all of these Thanksgiving ones. There's all sorts of holidays, Halloween, everything. But say I went to this Thanksgiving one, and rather than creating this email from scratch, I can actually use an email that's already been created, and I can come in and edit it and maybe personalize it. So for example, I have 2 boys, and most of my clients know sending thanks your way from Bryson, Corbin, and Leslie. You know, I might do something like that where I make it a little bit more personal. Obviously, I'm not sending this one out, but same thing down here where I say, thank you for entrusting your real estate needs with me. I deeply appreciate it. And I might just change out a couple of the words, like warm Thanksgiving wishes to you, your family and friends from me and my boys, you know? But I like it because it has the button to visit your website. It has this great image in it already, and you don't have to recreate the wheel. The wheel is already there. So keep in mind that you have all of these great templates that you can use. You don't always have to write your own. There's these great happy home anniversary emails, which will go out, which let me show you this real quick. Sorry, guys, I know I'm probably losing you because it's been a full hour of me nonstop talking. But I want to show you one other thing, and that was, what was I just going to show you? Oh my God, I lost my train of thought. Oh, the mass emails. So the follow-up. So if you were to click on somebody and you go to contact info, where is it? Profile details. Sorry, it's under profile details. If you come in here, you can actually hit edit. And if you've closed a property with somebody, you can actually put the closing date that you had with them, as well as your birthday. Last close date, you would put in the last close date of whatever date, and then it's going to send them an anniversary text or email every year on that date saying congratulations on your home, as well as you can do the same thing with your birthday. So if you ever know a client's birthday, put it into KVCORE and turn it on, because that way it'll send them an email or a text every year on their birthday and when they close. And at least that's 2 times a year, you know that client is going to be contacted. Okay, I can take a deep breath. You guys can ask some questions and we'll be done. So any questions on everything from today?
I have a question because whenever I go into my the EXP website where we started off at the beginning, where it has like the houses, condos, multifamily, and whenever I click on houses and view list, it says no matching results.
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
So whenever I go into the website, so I'll click on my website, through KVCORE, and I'll click on homes or condos, whichever one, and it just says no matching results.
So from the front side of your website, when you go to search for homes, is that what you're telling me? Yesenia, are you still there? I think
Yes,
you muted
sorry,
yourself.
I unmuted myself.
No, that's
didn't
okay.
like it.
So
Yes.
with that, what I would recommend is there is this chat button that's always right here. I would recommend that you come in and you ask them, because that might be a configuration issue on the back side of your website where maybe they didn't connect you to the right MLS or turn it on properly on the back end. So this little chat button is pretty useful. You can go in there, you can type in any message you want, and they're very quick to help you. But I think that would be more so be a technical issue than something that you or I would be able to fix.
Okay. I had received an email last week saying through like the IDX, and it was just saying that they were waiting on my broker in charge to sign. So I don't know if that just had something to do with,
That would be it,
signatures.
exactly. So once that's done, it should get done automatically for you, but I would reach out to KVCORE anyways and just try to speed
again,
up the process. Yeah, because
Okay.
if you don't have the MLS, they can't search for properties.
okay.
Okay. Any other questions?
So Leslie, this is Sam. How do we get the recording of this?
So I'm going to put it on my YouTube channel, which you can go to the Gene
Okay.
Frederick website, and it's going to be on my playlist at the bottom. Or if
Oh.
you go to my website, which,
Uh-huh.
sorry, I have some ads that just popped up.
Okay.
But if you're on my website and you go to the YouTube button, that also brings you directly to my KVCORE YouTube channel.
Okay.
So either way, you can get those. I don't email it out, but you can definitely find it on the playlist. It normally takes about 24 to 48 hours before a class actually ends up on my playlist, but you guys will have it by tomorrow. Or if you remind me tomorrow, if you're in the class, I can put it in the chat because I should have the recording done by then.
Okay. And what's the ID password? I have never used it. I'm with the EXP for over a year, and I was with a different brokerage before, so I had an account, but after moving to EXP, I never got time to finally set it up.
With
So,
KVCORE,
Yeah.
you need an email onboarding. I can't set up a KVCORE account for
Okay.
you.
Okay.
So I would email onboarding.
Okay.
And because when you do sign up with EXP, KVCORE is an option to you. You know, it's a free option, but it's an option, and you have to choose that you actually want to do KVCORE. So
Okay.
I know agents that have been with EXP for 6-7 years and they never opted into KVCORE. So,
Oh.
but you have to opt in, and it does take about 7 to 10 business days before your website's done from the time that you opt in.
Okay. So
Okay.
it is like md.onboarding at exprealty.com.
Are you from Maryland?
Yeah.
Then yes, that should be what it is. But I would definitely search the word onboarding in your inbox and you should be able to
Right.
see. But each state has its own onboarding department.
Okay.
And if you get stuck, you can come into the Gene Frederick website and ask
Cool.
to have like a time with Nicole or Gene because they do the onboarding process.
Yeah, but this meeting was very helpful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'll see you tomorrow. I hope everybody has an awesome day. I hope this was excellent learning, and I hope you guys build those pages and use your KVCORE. Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Logging off from another fantastic KVCORE beginners class. If you have questions, feel free to put something in the chat, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.